Today I wanted to give you an update and show you how my hair has been progressing using the method that I have chosen to grow my grays out without cutting my hair. So let's go over again the things that I was looking for in a method of going gray. And it had to be inexpensive. I didn't want to have to cut my hair short. I didn't want it to be damaging to my hair. And I wanted to see fast results. So if you haven't seen the first two parts of this series, I will go ahead and link that at the end of this video. So today I really do want to try to clarify what's going on with my hair and how this this technique works. I know that the lighting in my studio wasn't optimal, and so I was getting comments that people weren't actually seeing my grays. So the technique that I used involves the addition of adding strategic highlights. And so as you can see, this part here is the highlights that I had put in right there. And what you're wanting to do with these highlights is actually break up that line of demarcation, as well as blending, starting to blend in your grays as they come in. So for best results, when you're having your highlights put in, you really want to get your hair to a level 9 or 10, and that's the lightest. And then when you tone it with a silver, it mimics the gray hair the most. So I do my own hair. I cut it as well as bleach it. And the issue that I kind of have ran into is that when I would bleach it, I wouldn't risk damaging my hair. So I maybe wasn't getting all of my highlights up to that level of lightness. And so as you can see, they're a little bit more warm toned and yellow. So this technique will still work. It's just your highlights may end up coming out a little bit more blonde. So I still use the silver toner, but it, rather than it coming out looking gray, it may come out looking maybe more of an ashier blonde or even a blonde, depending on how much warmth there is. Now, another thing that I recommend is that prior to actually going, you know, like when you're starting to play with the idea of wanting to go gray, that's a great time to switch your, if you're covering your grays with permanent dye, switching that to a semi-permanent and doing that for however long. Because then when you finally decide you want to go gray, you're going to see a little bit more of a blending out rather than that really harsh line. Another thing with this technique is you're focusing just on your top layer of your hair, and it really takes very little. As a matter of fact, I think I could have done a lot less highlights here and would have been fine. But I'm going to lift this top layer, and that way you can see, hopefully, the actual demarcation line. So my growth is to here. And then this part here is the actual permanent dye when I was permanently coloring my hair. So as you can see, you don't need to highlight a lot of your hair, just the top. I did throw in a few highlights here just to connect, so if I wear my hair up, but it's really surprising how very little hair you need to highlight. This technique is more about just camouflaging and breaking up that demarcation line. And I'm hoping that you can see the blends of the different tones here. So there might be some cooler tones, and that would then actually be my grays and maybe some of the highlights that I did manage to get to a level 9 or 10. And then you're going to see maybe warmer tones here, and that's just the highlights that I wasn't going to risk, you know, damaging my hair. So it did not get to that level. And I don't mind it. It still is doing what I want it to do. It's still camouflaging as it's growing out. I just don't have an all gray-haired look per se because of these warmer tones in my hair. So I am pretty much at my 1-year anniversary of quitting the dye. And during this year, during your first year, you'll start to notice, you know, of course, your grays coming in, and you'll start to get an idea of what kind of gray hair you have, because gray hair does not come in one flavor. Some people may be a lot more, you know, white. Others may be more salt and pepper. And it also changes, obviously, as you age. So at one point, I think I was around 45, I had decided I wanted to grow out my grays. And I was more like maybe 10 to 15% gray. I really didn't like it very much. I got tired of it really quickly. You know, there was just enough gray to make me look unkept. And so I ended up going back to, you know, coloring my hair and everything. And at that point, it wasn't so difficult trying to always be covering your grays. But this time around, now that I've got a lot more, and I'm a lot more excited about how it's going to turn out. Now with me, I have a lot more of a blend of salt and pepper, and some parts, like especially in the back, there's a lot darker. It's a lot darker back here. Up at the top right here, it gets a little bit lighter, but I don't have, like, say, those white, beautiful streaks that I love, because then they act as highlights. So since the ones that I do have, I try to play up as much as I can, but you can go in and just create your highlights. So those are where I would add my strategic highlights and do my best to just really keep them toned in a cooler tone. That's one thing that I really do like to stress, is that when you start seeing your gray come in, you may not be that excited about it. You may be a little bit disappointed because you wanted gray hair that was different. The beauty is you can tweak it to have the gray hair that you want. So if you're wanting, say, more dark, you can add in the lowlights. If you want more light, you can add in highlights. It's not just you get what you get. You can tweak it a bit. Another great thing about this time is seeing how your gray hair is reacting to your current hair care routine. Because one big issue with gray hair is that it can yellow. And please check out my video on all the different reasons your hair might be yellowing. But this is a really good time to make sure that you're not seeing that happening, because it would be such a drag to go through all of this grow out period and have yellow hair. Now, there's ways of maintaining it. Like I said, bleach hair will yellow regardless. That's a different type of hair. But if your gray hair is yellowing, you might actually be damaging it. So you do need to incorporate in heat protectors and things like that. See if maybe the way you're styling your hair might be actually damaging your hair. So gray hair, you will be able to see damage a lot easier than when your hair is colored with pigment. So this is a great time to kind of work out the kinks and start building a good hair care routine that is protecting your gray hairs, because they are more vulnerable. To wrap this up, I have to say I have enjoyed my first year of growing my hair, growing my grays out. I won't lie, there have been times when, you know, you get a little down about your hair. I know when I did, it was because maybe my highlights were a little bit more yellow and they needed refreshed, or maybe I needed an adjustment, or even just a haircut, just like anybody else. I mean, regardless of if you're going gray or not, I think we have times when our hair, you know, we're feeling it and we love our hair, and then there's times that we don't. The fix is easy enough. Go and get, you know, your highlights adjusted maybe, or tone your hair. I know for me, it's a maintenance thing. I use a purple shampoo on a pretty regular basis, as well as a toner that I will do on a monthly basis. That's a little bit more of a treat for my hair, and it's easy. It's something I can do at home. You don't need to, you know, you don't have to break the bank either. I know the toner that I use, the Pravana Vivids in silver, is around $10. I get it on Amazon, and it's just the one tube. You can apply it straight to your hair, and once a month I'll touch up the gray parts. I don't have to do my whole head. I could just do the highlighted parts, and I could probably get 2 uses out of it. So it cost me $5 to just freshen up my hair. And so I really think that this has hit the mark on all of the things that I was looking for. It's inexpensive. My hair is healthy. I'm not, except for the few highlights that I've added in, that's it. I haven't been coloring my hair anymore. My hair, since I haven't been dyeing it, seems to just be getting healthier and healthier. I haven't had to cut my hair. I trim it, you know, on a, you know, every couple of months, but other than that, I've kept the length. So I've really enjoyed this method. I know for me, it was kind of testing it out and seeing how it comes out. And I have been really, really happy with it. So please, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're enjoying my content. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.